set of drawings here, but I feel that alas, my drawings do not do justice.
Nice solution to that problem. So that's a nice solution to that problem.
No. All right, so right now, you can't see a thing. There we go. So we have the frequency in theory of the sound that's being produced. We can crank that number up, I believe. This is the speed of sound, and this is how fast the source is going. The observer is at rest in this particular case. So we have an observer. The source is going to be coming along, producing these sound waves. So this is stuff that potentially you saw last time, although it was a different site last time. So, as before with the Doppler effect, the source is producing the next sound wave close to the front edge of the previous sound wave, and so the observer gets these sound waves at a higher frequency, and would hear a higher pitch. And then mathematically, we had the formula for Doppler effect last time. So we have a perceived frequency. As you get closer and closer to the speed of sound, we get the sound waves bunched up even more, and recognize that from the point of view of drawing here, the lines represent high pressure. Halfway between the lines is going to be a point of low pressure. So we've got basically a peak and then a trough. Well, easier to see over here, a peak and a trough right there in the middle. So as you get closer, it gets bunched up even more, and it's a higher and higher frequency. And then let's just barely exceed the speed of sound by 10 meters per second. Oh, sorry, wrong button. And so now we have high pressure on top of high pressure on top of high pressure. So what that sonic boom is, you now have this constructive interference with the high pressure points and low pressure points. And so that's why you get the huge rumble there, if it's an airplane or you hear a loud sound. When you break the sound barrier, because pressure has been built up on itself. You're basically at least doubling the amount of pressure that's in your eardrum. And then boom. If we go even more, now the way that this is drawn here, it doesn't look quite as intense as just over the sound barrier, but recognize this is producing these waves once every fraction of a second, whereas an airplane's producing sounds, if it's 440 hertz, that's 440 times a second. And so these pressure waves are much closer to each other. And so this is a much more intense sound here. And you basically have a cone that's hitting you. And you can go through the calculations. There is a relationship between the angle of this cone and how fast the source is going. I wasn't planning to do that, but the equation's out there. But this is basically a sonic boom. All you have to do is have something that is producing sound travel faster than the sound wave it is producing, which is basically what a whip does. You get the tip to travel faster than the speed of sound, because the whip by itself, I think even with that, you might be able to hear it. I'm not gonna break the sound barrier with this, but you, I think, might be able to hear this.
Yeah, I could hear, I heard, wind, or
Yeah.
wind being made by the roar.
So anything going through the wind fast enough is going to produce a sound that's audible, but if I can make this go faster than the speed of sound, we'd be able to get a sonic boom. However, I cannot with this. And the whips that I usually kept in my office went home during the pandemic, and so they're sitting at home right now.
And I think if you tried, swinging that thing at the speed of sound, it would break.
That's quite possible, or my arm probably would hurt too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
All right, so any questions before I shut this off?
Is there a position you can move relative to the source that you hear the sound normally? When you were showing it below the speed of sound, it looked like there was an angle you could kind of be at, where the sound waves would be hitting you at a normal.
I think you're right at this correct sound
Just any speed below the speed of sound.
Oh.
What, sorry, I first thought you were talking about one thing and then suddenly it shifted. We talking about, so you would not hear the Doppler effect at all, or would not hear the sonic
You
boom?
might hear the Doppler effect, because if you're in front, then it's gonna pitch up. If you're behind, it's gonna pitch down. But can you move relative to that source and have it just kind of normal pitch?
Yeah, if you're both traveling the same velocity,
Okay.
you would not hear any different. Because velocity is always relative to something. And so, yeah, if the observer is not moving relative to you, you hear whatever frequency the source is doing.
I don't know if you remember, but a few years ago, I was on deployment and, we had them sailors caught on Farsi Island. We flew a jet over Farsi Island, knocked out their power breaking the sound barrier,
Oh,
doing a low fly.
what island?
Farsi Island,
Where's that?
that's over off in the middle of the Gulf of, Persian Gulf.
Okay, so it was done deliberately.
Yes, it was done.
Okay. I've also heard igniting landmines.
Yeah, they probably could do that.
They're doing that too.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's sketchy dog.
There's,
Yeah, fly close to a city with supersonic aircraft, you're also gonna break windows too.
or you at least hear a rumble. There is a Mythbusters which talks about that. And that plane was flying really low to the ground to break the glass.
Oh. Interesting. Then again, sonic booms are they're very unpleasant. I've been to air shows and when supersonic aircraft fly by, it's crazy.
Yeah, I can believe it. I don't think I've ever heard a sonic boom coming from an aircraft before, because I haven't gone to the air shows.
You can also hear them if you don't. You can also hear when bullets fly by you, and you're lucky enough to not get hit.
That is.
I don't know if bullets do travel faster than the speed of sound.
Do we still use the B2?
They do.
They do?
It depends. Well, it depends on the bullet. Like, for example, like some of the like a bullet you would use for a sniper rifle, a 7.62 by 51 millimeter. That
Wow, I would not think you would want it traveling faster than the speed of sound because of the additional pressures on the bullet. I think you would lose accuracy, but I do not know. But then again, I'm not a sniper.
yeah.
All right. What I would like you to do I think you can do it. Because I've done the demo with the water tube. One more lab, and I know it's been a lot of labs recently. It's just, Yeah, it's just been a lot of labs recently, but I wanted you to have the experience of doing this more than just my having demoed it. So, got the water tube back there with water in it already. We can get you more water. If, that just doesn't feel right, we've got other ones that we can use with other water in it. You'll be using the LabQuest instead of the tuning forks to generate sound. You just don't want the LabQuest so loud that it drowns out your hearing anything.
Too late.
11 to 30.